everyone, it's Space on Hope, and tonight I wanted to talk about one of my biggest struggles. Now, by the time you see this, I may have uploaded it the next day, but I am currently filming this on June 18th, but I may upload this tomorrow because my phone's gonna die at some point, and it's late, and I just kind of want to record what I want to say and then, call it a night, and then I'll just edit the video and upload it when I can. But one of my biggest struggles is social anxiety. Now that we all have struggles, it's part of life, it's part of being a human, but I struggle with social anxiety, and it's really hard for me to open up to new people, especially when I'm not used to someone, when I just meet them for the first time and I'm like getting to know them. I am so shy, but the more I open up, the more comfortable I am, and the more of my fun side will show. But I've gone through a lot of hard things in life that's contributed to this. I was bullied severely in middle school when I was in 6th grade. It got to the point where I was pulled out of that school and homeschooled. And then I went back to public school from 9th grade because I insisted on it. And I didn't last 2 months there because although I wasn't as bullied like I was in middle school and it wasn't as bad, I was isolated and not a lot of people were nice to me. Like, I felt like an outcast, and it's not a very nice feeling. And no one likes to feel that way, but like I said, I never ended up staying completely. I didn't graduate in public school. I ended up going back to homeschooling because I quickly realized that public school was not for me. Not only was it hard for me to make friends because I was really shy because I was homeschooled for the past 3 years. Nobody was helping the situation when I tried to reach out to people and try to be friends, and they completely blew me off or, ignored me or acted like I wasn't there. I remember there were times at the lunch table where I tried to talk to people and they acted like they didn't hear me at all. And I know cafeterias are loud, but it was just really hard. And but I really enjoyed schooling. I prefer it. I don't understand. I almost don't understand why I wanted to try public school again in 9th grade. I know why I did. I only wanted to go back to public school because of dances and football games. That was it. It wasn't to make new friends or anything. It was to have the full high school experience. And I thought I wouldn't be able to do that homeschooling. And public school is just not for me. I quickly realized that. So I thrived more in homeschooling though. Grade wise, I did much better. Even though I was never a bad student when it came to grades or my behavior, I never made AB honor roll or A honor roll in public school at all. I never did. But when I was in homeschooling, I did. I was thriving. And, I think it's a big reason why, because when you're in public school, you have to fight for attention with over a dozen students. But when you're homeschooling, you can get more attention, and you can get that one-on-one thing without a bunch of kids screaming in the background, and you're fighting to understand what's going on and such like that. So I continued homeschooling up until I graduated high school about 3 years ago. Um, I ended up throwing my own prom. I got to pick the music, which is something you can't do when you're in public school. You can't pick the music that they play. You can't um, guarantee that you'll be like prom queen or king and valedictorian. Just because I was the only senior in my homeschooling thing, because my two younger brothers were in different grades. I was the only senior because I was the oldest. So I didn't have to fight for prom queen. I didn't have to fight for valedictorian and things like that. I got to pick my own music at my prom. So I prefer homeschooling to public school. I think I know I thrive better. But my biggest struggle, one of my biggest struggles, is social anxiety. I'm very shy around people. I'm not around a lot of people that are not my family that much because I'm a homebody. I was homeschooled. So I was not around kids my age that much, but I still did stuff like church camp and things like that. It's just I wasn't around kids my age that much because I was homeschooled. But it's not a big deal because I'm not a people person, so I prefer being by myself than being with a bunch of people at once. But I do struggle in social anxiety. Sometimes I feel so uncomfortable in public, like when there's a big event. I don't know who to talk to. Like there's been times where I didn't know what to do or say in front of people because I was just so uncomfortable because I have like I said, social anxiety, and I'm just like nervous and all that. But I wanted to say that, no matter what struggle you have, you should always give it to God and pray on it and give it to Him, because if you try to overcome something like social anxiety or, whatever struggle you have, you're going to fail by yourself. But if you give it to God and you pray on it, you will thrive. You might, overcome it overnight. You might not overcome it overnight, but you can overcome it through Christ and Christ alone. And I wanted to encourage you, if you have similar stories like mine, like I've given my testimony of my early years, or my baby year when I got sick and I nearly passed away, or if you got through really bad bullying, or you're someone like me, like who has a disability, whether it's similar or not to mine, I want you to know that you're not alone. And there's a lot of people out there who are quote unquote different or quote unquote disabled. I don't like the word disabled because that is saying that we are limited, when in fact we are not limited through Christ, because we can do anything through Christ. And I mean anything and everything. You have to trust that God will help you overcome whatever obstacle you have. You have to trust that He will be there for you, and God will never ever leave you. Man will fail you. Man will hurt you. Man will make you cry. Man will beat you down to the ground and tell you are not good enough, you are worthless, you are this and that. But God will lift you up and tell you that you are loved and that you are strong and that you can lean on Him, and He will never ever ever fail you. You have God and you have Jesus to lean on to, and I want to remind you of that just because you have a struggle, anything similar to mine or whatever, put it in God's hands and let Him take care of it. See, even to this day, I still struggle with social anxiety, but I have to remind myself every day that I have to give it to God. I have to trust that God will help me through my struggles, and I have to trust that God will always be there for me. So that's all I wanted to say. God bless, and bye.